Okay, this has been bothering me forever. How the fuck does Rattlesnake Jake's gun work? It's a Gatling gun made out of layered revolver cylinders. Like, it makes no fucking sense. How does it not jam? How does he reload it? How does any of this work? I mean... Well, I hope you are just as confused as I am, because that's exactly what we're gonna talk about.
This stage just got a little more interesting.
Okay, so, first things first. What are we dealing with here? Well, Rattlesnake Jake has a machine gun. Way to state the obvious, genius. I mean, good fucking god. Okay, so, to be serious for a second, Rattlesnake Jake's gun works just like any other gun. It can be loaded, primed, fired, eject cases, and run dry. And, on top of all that, it has specs. Jake's gun is chambered in .45-70, it has a rate of 12 bullets per second, with a magazine of 162 rounds for 13 seconds of uninterrupted fire. And don't even ask me how he reloads either. He either reloads each individual bullet with his mouth, or he has some freak half-human, half-snake hybrid wife who reloads it for him. And that was the easy part. Yeah, figuring that shit out was the easy part, because it goes all downhill from here, baby. So let's start with the easiest part of this first. How does he fire the gun without pulling a trigger? Well, that's actually really simple. You don't need a trigger to fire a gun. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the Gatling gun, lovingly referred to as a crank gun or a spin gun by yours truly, and boy do I love them. Now, you fire the gun by turning a crank, and that in turn rotates the barrel, and fun comes out the end. But what makes it fire? Well, as the chamber rotates, it grabs a bullet out of the magazine, then carries it for about a half rotation, then a bolt with a pin is pulled into a groove, and then released at the end, firing the round, similar to how you launch a ball in a pinball machine. But we have a problem. No crank. Rattlesnake Jake's gun is made out of revolver cylinders, so it has a hammer system. Well, no. When a trigger is pulled back, the hammer compresses a metal spring and a pawl ratchets the cylinder so the next round can be fired. And that's just not how this gun works. As we can see, the empty shells are ejected after being fired, and no revolver can fire that fast. Not even John Marston, after eating 3 packs of cocaine gum, armed with 2 double-action revolvers, could get to that fire rate. So, another dead end, right? Wrong! An internal mechanism is possible, but how? We've already established that you don't need a trigger to fire a gun, but then how does he turn it? Well, it turns out part of the answer lies in prosthetics and ecology. Rattlesnakes can shake their rattle extremely quickly. Now, Jake doesn't have his tail. It's a prosthetic. But the gun still shakes and bends and even rattles, just like the real one. And just like with any prosthetic, it can lock into place, just like a real prosthetic arm. So, there we go. He shakes it and then... But, wait. The cylinders can rotate both ways. I am losing my mind, you fucking snake rat bastard! And here I thought I'd hit my final dead end. It's just not in the cards. And I was about to admit defeat. Until I finally figured it out. Right before Jake murks the mayor, he does this.
What was that you said? Pretty soon no one will believe you even existed.
Didn't catch it? Let me do it again.
What was that you said? Pretty soon no one will believe you even existed.
One more time.
What was that?
God, he's cool. He turned the gun and then it rotated in the opposite direction by itself. And the only mechanism that does that is a clock spring in a music box. Jake has been using stored momentum to make the mechanism turn. And we know this to be true because the gun rotates counterclockwise and then rotates back clockwise. The gun locks and turns together, meaning that there is a locking system in place, just like a prosthetic arm. Jake winds up the gun with a clock spring when he shakes his tail, and then he locks it to store the energy in the spring. And then the momentum of the spring unwinding turns the whole mechanism around. moving ammo, moving spent rounds, moving everything where it needs to be. This also means that Jake can pre-wind up his gun and store the momentum to fire as little or as much as he needs to be with a literal flick of his tail. I mean, it just makes so much sense. And I think I'm gonna go pass out. And thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this. If you want to see more content of me going into deep dives on really obscure villains and other things like that, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, and as always, I will see you all on the next adventure. Good night.